water, very important.
Absolutely vital, Rob, for farming, of course, and I'd say to farmers, do look after your water. And a lot of farmers don't realise what they're eligible for in terms of stock water. And a lot of irrigation main lines are pressurised and troughs run off those for stock water. So the deal is that for stock water, you're allowed 10 cubic metres per day or 5 litres per second. Now the big trick is that it's going through a data logger, all the water you use from your irrigation well, going through a data logger if you've been compliant and put one on. Mm-hmm. So you start ticking up use of water at this time of the year when you might be pumping up your main lines for stock water. So effectively the figures are being ticked off. Now the thing that has to happen is that your data collector agent, in our case Datacom, you talk to them and they need to make the adjustment allowing you for your stock water, so that when the figure comes in front of ECAN, you're getting close to your annual consumption, that you don't run into the non-compliance or into all sort of abatement notices and run over the top. At least you've got 365 cubic metres there, 3,650 cubic metres there, which is allowable for stock water.
Because my understanding is a dairy cow will drink 40 litres of water a day.
Absolutely, or even more, greater quantities than that. A lactating cow, 30 gallons I think, which is obviously more than that. But a bank manager recently said to me that very soon water will be more valuable than land.
That's a pretty big comment, but yes. I guess you're probably heading that way, aren't you?
Well, if you think about some of that shingle country, up Tiparita, places like that, which is virtually growing hydroponic grass, take away the water, or create a shortage of water, and that land is not very productive at all. So you can see whether it will change over.
Now there's a farmer from South Canterbury that you want to talk about.
Absolutely. Colin Hurst has talked to farmers, obviously, and obviously a thinker, and has seen a need for a potentially commercial business, a new one, which is to do compliancing for farmers. So all the things that we've been asked to do, and I think I've identified something like 16 or 17 different compliances at the moment, and we are being pushed and bullied by government and by environmental agencies and so forth, as well as industry and the request for food safety and traceability. We're being pushed, and some terrible deadlines are coming up in front of us. And so farmers are starting to panic a little bit about things like farm environmental plans, things like overseer, all sorts of things coming along where if you're in a phosphate runoff area, and there's quite a few of those, you actually have to apply for a consent to carry on farming. Now that has to be done by the 1st of January. There is a bit of lag time for implementation, but certainly by the 1st of January you have to have both an environmental farm plan done and a consent application granted to carry on farming. Just what you're doing.
So this guy from South Canterbury, is he organising a company to do all that for you or something?
Well, he is organising a company to do that for you, and I believe he becomes sort of a shareholder and a cooperative type environment, which it would have to be, because individual farmers' requirements will be different between each other, so you really need to be in on the group. I'm not too sure how he's going to structure it, but
he hasn't got much time to get it structured.
Not at all. And the demand is right there now. So I think that's a fantastic, innovative potential start to help farmers. And there are some templates out there. I know Foundation for Arable Research have been putting a lot together, templates for farmers to help them. But there is some subtle stuff that has to go on. And you need to be able to navigate around that. And I think there's a great opening for it, and I congratulate them.
So things like fertiliser sampling.
Yes, well, there's always a big debate about where the core comes from and what the reading might be, because if you start going down to 150 millimetres, you're getting down into country, especially if you're not ploughing, if you're into minimum till and so forth, you're actually farming the surface. So at 75, millimetres, you're probably looking at a totally different profile on your fertility than what you are at 150. And so, you know, certainly the fertiliser companies have a vested interest in going deeper, where it's more diluted and telling you that you need a lot more. But in fact, if some of your crops are quite shallow rooting, the top 75 can be a totally different answer. And I would put that question to your fertiliser companies, you know, where do I need to be? Where am I farming? And at what inputs do I need to put in?
Now, you'll be very happy because apparently Fonterra have suddenly twigged about this.
Yeah, not so much Fonterra, is Land Corp, about the palm kernel.
Yes.
Yes. And about time too, and been lots of lobbying from grain farmers on that. And New Zealand imported 2 million tonnes of the product. And so really it has taken the place largely of grain. And obviously with the clearing of the rainforests and growing the palm kernel, it's not a nice thing internationally to be propagating that sort of behaviour. And so Landcorp have come to the party and said, no, our farms will not be using that product. And of course there's lots of good, cheap, high value grain out there in terms of high value in terms of feed value, sitting out there ready for farmers to pick up at pretty good prices. So, you know, it's good to see a start.
Fonterra actually has been voicing it a wee bit as well, haven't they?
Yes, they have. I don't know whether they've quite gone as far as saying, you know,
don't use it.
Don't use it because
we don't think you should, perhaps.
Yes, that's right. I think that it's under the microscope. Yes, yeah. And so it could move in that direction very quickly. New
chemicals? Are we very quick to pick up new chemicals?
Well, Rob, I've been thinking about chemicals and what's coming out, and anything new on the market really might be potentially slightly more expensive than the old product, but you can rest assured that its profile in terms of efficacy, environmental and toxicity packages will be vastly superior to the old ones. And so I would ask farmers to think about it, read the labels, embrace it. I know the proprietors will be looking for a payback from the start.
Absolutely.
But a lot of them
research and development.
Absolutely. A lot of them are vastly superior on the beneficials, and if you can get your beneficials helping you farm, they're unpaid workers. So really look after those little beneficials that will come through, and perhaps give more mileage to the chemical. It won't get lost, almost an integrated pest management type thing. Yeah, think about it and look at those new chemicals because they will be superior.
Well, we don't buy 20 or 30, 40-year-old cars as our main car.
No, we know how they have improved.
Yes, we do. Dennis, thank you very much indeed.